who've seen the present recently, we talk a lot about LOSO FOMO. So LOSO FOMO means that everything in the digital space has to be either local, social, photo or mobile. And this is our kind of version of it, which is lumps. So as we go through all of the trends, what you'll see is that some of them relate to all of these, but absolutely they relate to kind of at least one of these themes. So if it's not location-based, if it's not ubiquitous, which means being connected kind of at all times on all platforms, or if it's not mobile, personal or social, then it kind of isn't happening. So when we think about digital, a lot of what we do is, yes, we buy banners, but actually we do so much more than that. We look at how we build extraordinary consumer experiences across lots of multiple devices. And keeping these things in mind kind of keeps us on track on, are we answering what the consumers want from a digital perspective? So we've got 8 trends for you, and then there's a couple of videos. And what we'll do is we'll kind of explain the trend, we'll give an example of how an advertiser has used it, and then we'll talk about kind of some opportunities to use it for next year with some new launches that are coming along. Yeah.
Okay. So the first trend we're going to talk about is ubiquitous connectivity, which, as Ellie said, is being connected to the internet pretty much anywhere and any time. So we're seeing that users are feeling a lot more personal connection to their mobile device, and it's increasingly being seen as this bridge for digital to real life in real time. 62% of 25 to 34-year-olds use the internet while commuting. So we need to develop communication strategies that talk to these people across many different platforms. So that's mobile, tablet, and the web. Tablet penetration is currently at 8% in Australia, and that's going to triple in the next year with costs coming down and more supplies coming into the market. So you can see how even tablet is exploding, and that's something that we need to be wary of. The thing that's really going to facilitate this ubiquitous connectivity is cloud computing. So with all of our data or media devices synced together and linked to one data source, we can use and share with our friends quickly and easily any sort of information or data or media that we want to pass on. So one campaign message from advertisers needs to be shared across multiple channels. So brands and advertisers need to think about designing for digital distribution. And it needs to be device agnostic. So you can see there you can have one message and it can go across an iPhone, a PC, laptop, or on the iPad. And then there are many other channels as well you can throw in there. So we're not looking at different channels, we're looking at one holistic campaign message. So the next trend is mobile becoming integral to the marketing mix. 35% of Australians now own a smartphone, and this will rise to 51% over the next 12 months. So you can see how consumer experiences really need to be mobile, and mobile needs to be at the heart of all communication strategies. With 42% of people actually searching for a URL, they do that on desktop or on mobile, so you can see that mobile needs to be an important element of search as well. We've got an example of a McDonald's campaign that they ran in Europe, and it's a really good example of how they took mobile and put it at the real heart of their communication strategy.
Interact with the screen without having to download any. We wanted to give people an extra reason to visit McDonald's, or perhaps a reason that was extra fun. Using a large digital billboard, we created an interactive challenge where you could pick and play for your favorite McDonald's goodie. You used your smartphone to control the game. Combining new technology in a new way, we made it possible to interact with the screen without having to download any application. Simply get online and go to pickandplay.se. The phone's geolocation verifies that you are in the game area. Pick a goodie And now steer your paddle by using the touchscreen on your phone, as you follow the game real time on the big screen. Game on Stockholm. The game got gradually harder. If you lasted 30 seconds, you won your goodie of choice. A digital coupon was automatically sent to your phone with directions to collect your prize at the nearest McDonald's restaurant. Even though we ended up giving away a lot of free stuff, it felt like a win-win situation. Game over. Until next time.
What's really good about this example, as I said, it puts mobile at the heart of McDonald's strategy, but while it's fun and it's relevant and it really speaks to people on kind of that brand identity that McDonald's has, it actually drove people in store as well. So that's where you can see mobile starts to become really relevant and fulfills a greater marketing need around sales. So the next trend is near-field communication and the phone becoming the wallet. We think brands are going to experiment with NFC in the next year a lot more, because with most new smartphones now, they're going to have this NFC technology built in, and then there's a whole kind of consumer experience that goes around NFC. We've got another video from Google which shows how they're rolling out the Google Wallet. I think it's quite easy for everyone to see how how this technology can be used pretty quickly and how it can become an important part of consumers' lives. And there are a few brands kind of woven into that clip as well. You can see how brands can utilise it. But the challenge now is for brands to think about how can they actually utilise it and deliver an experience that's relevant and beneficial to themselves. But the phone becoming the wallet is really the first stage. The next evolution will be when the phone becomes something more like your passport, because you can do much more than just pay for things. You can share content, you can grab information, you can check in, etc. So the phone with NFC technology will literally become kind of a passive social utility that collects, stores and shares pretty much anything and everything instantly. So the next trend is location, location, location. And again, we're going to see brands experiment with location-based services in 2012. In 2011, only 9% of social networkers gave location-based services a go, and that's going to increase in 2012. So brands need to experiment with offers and content that identifies where they are. So Foursquare, so this is an example of Foursquare. Foursquare used to be about sharing with the world what you're doing and where you're doing it. They've recently just launched a function called Foursquare Radar, which lets you know when you're close to experiences or events that are of interest to you. So for example, if you were following a list of 101 best dishes of 2011, when you walk past a restaurant that has one of those dishes in, Foursquare Radar will actually send you a message to let you know that you're passing by one of these dishes because it might be of interest to you. Another way this can be used is if you're on your way home and 3 of your friends are getting together nearby, Radar will actually let you know what's going on so you can actually go and join them. And this all happens without you actually logging on or being connected to Foursquare. It just happens automatically. And this is really good for brands who've got location-based services, so like a shop or a bank. When you're walking past one, Foursquare Radar can actually just send you a message saying, hey, you're going past a bank, do you need money, or you're going past your favourite shop, want to come in and shop in there.
We're just laughing because we just thought of another location-based service. So has anyone on or heard of Grindr or Blender? Yeah, really? Everyone's on it? Okay. For those of you that aren't, it's a location-based app that tells you people are hot for it in the area, and then you can hook up. So we're following the consumer trends, what can we say? So the rise and rise of social shopping, this won't be a surprise to the girls in the room. Shopping has always been social. You hang out with your friends on a Saturday and go shopping, and the internet's just catching up really. So hands up if you've used any of the kind of Groupon or Scoopon or any of those services. Anyone used it? So that's a trend. Most people in the room, right? Yeah, good. Agree with that one. So this is an example. So Groupon works in an interesting way that if people do things en masse, an offer will be released to them. And this is quite interesting because this kind of flips it on its head. I don't know if anyone's familiar with this example, but basically 40,000 Aussies have got together and said, actually, we deserve a better home loan rate. And they've gone the other way. They've said, we're 40,000, with the power of collaboration, we're a mass group, we want the banks to come to the party and give us what we're asking for. Now, no banks have actually taken them up on their offer as yet, but it will happen. It will start going the other way. And this whole kind of pyramid scheme about the way that society works, about the government telling us what to do, actually, power to the people are coming back in force, and this is what this kind of trend is about. The sixth one, big data. So if there's one theme for this year, it was probably data. And you probably heard this back at your agencies. Data is the new sexy, data is the new black, data is the new oil, it's only good if it's refined. And you've probably noticed that actually the structure of your agencies is starting to change. 5 years ago, we were hiring people that were really good at English, really articulate, and really, I won't say good fun, but that kind of cool kid in town. And now it's all about the data geeks. So that geek that you kind of worked with at school, you always thought was a bit geeky, they are the new geek chic. And the reason for that, and the reason that agencies are changing their agency dynamic, is because there's a hell of a lot of numbers out there, and it's our job to make sense of it. So it's not just numbers in boxes, it's kind of qualified and understood insights that drive marketing decisions. So what does that mean? Data is only important if it's kind of used well. And what this says is that from a marketing perspective, what we used to do is we used to broadcast. So we used to have one message, one big Super Bowl spot, that TVC that we used to release, that 30-second, one message to many people. Those days have gone. Now it's all gone from broadcast to narrowcast. And what that means is having multiple messages to multiple people. And the reason we can do multiple people is because we've got a better grasp of data. So for example, we could target, if we were BMW, people that have a Mercedes, have a cat, if that's the target audience, who live in Sydney, but have never flown with Qantas. If your strategy department decided that was a really important profile, we could target that audience online. And we haven't been able to do that before. We've relied on kind of OzTown, which is a panel of 1,300 people, to tell us what an audience profile is, and then we've worked out what 20% of that program is. Those days have gone. Now it's all about being extremely granular. So when Saatchi said, half of all my advertising is wasted and I don't know what half, now we can absolutely identify what half. Now this only works if the creatives want to play the game as well, because if you just understand that from a media perspective, all you do is dial up and down your frequency, which can be interesting, but it's much more interesting if you have a tailored creative. And that's what that Bank West example is about. So if you're going to work out, actually I want to talk to 20 different types of audience, why don't you then think about, from a creative point of view, what's the best message to tell those people? So really simply, from a retargeting point of view, that could work. So for Bank West, if you are a customer, or if you're not a customer, actually we should probably tell you something different, and if we're going to take it a step further, we should probably give you a different offer. So Creative now allows you to change in the creative really in real time and dynamically. So if you want to change the copy, or the frame, or the image, you can do that. So again, in the digital world, if your creative agencies are developing one banner for all of your different profiles, that's the wrong approach. You need to be using tools like smart versioning to change creative on the fly to better suit the different profiles. And then this kind of goes to the personalisation of the web. So we all expect a personal experience now. If you think about kind of your eBay habits, when you go on eBay, it says also bought. Or if you go onto Facebook, your Facebook will look very, very different to your friend's Facebook. And consumers want this, not just from a browsing point of view, but also from an advertising point of view. So there is an expectation that if you're going to talk to me and you're a brand, you're going to tell me something different than the person next to me, because I'm a different person.
A road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less trafficked. John Anderton. Escape from it all, Harrison. Get to a can't pay, John Anderton. Forget your promise.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
Mr. Yakamoto.
Hey, Miss Balfour, did you come back for another pair of those chamois lace-ups?
So yeah, that's an example of kind of Minority Report. It's all getting a little bit Big Brother. And sometimes it's about personalisation just in the digital world. The two challenges for us is how that then integrates into other channels. So working with outdoor companies like JC2Co to kind of extend that experience beyond just the digital world. And then also how it extends into product. So anyone bought a Coke can recently with their name on? Anyone done that? One. It's one of our clients, so you should all buy more Coke with your name on. But that's kind of an example really of, an insight was the youth market like personal products. So we created products with their names on that makes it look like it's personal, but obviously it's not really, there's only 198 names. So even if you can't be personal, at least make the experience feel like that. Make the creative and the copy and the language and the style feel like it's a one-to-one relationship, because that's what consumers are demanding now from advertisers. And then the last one, digital advertising matures. So next year the market's going to grow by another 14%. That'll take us to just under 4 billion, and that'll be a 25% share. And if you look to the UK, internet has just overtaken TV in terms of not just penetration in time spent, but also advertising dollars. So with growth comes challenges, and one of those is the lack of maturity within the channel. And we've seen over the last kind of 2 years some industry standards really moving on ahead. And my advice to anybody kind of joining digital is don't accept any norm. If you think something isn't quite right, or there's something that you want to change from an agency or an industry perspective, you know, the room is wide open. The standards haven't been set yet. And we've just got kind of two examples. There are two examples of kind of how we, the agency that I work for, took a stance this year. One of them is vast compliance. So what vast compliance means is that every single video unit goes through one ad server. And the advantage there is you can get holistic reach and frequency because it's going through one platform, and the specs will be ubiquitous across all of the publishers that you work with. And obviously that's a huge advantage. So we decided that from the 1st of March we'd only deal with publishers that were vast compliant. And then the other standard that we kind of put in place, and you know, lots of agencies have different ones, these were just ours, was the need to be transparent. And because digital has grown up with an ROI model, so for every dollar you put in, you work out how much comes back, it was kind of the industry norm that quite often you'd run ads on blind networks and you wouldn't really know where they went, but that was okay because you'd hit a target. That's fine when you're talking to DR advertisers, but actually when you're going after the big brand dollars and you're talking to marketing directors in the FMCG world, they look at you like you're bonkers when you tell them you don't know where their ads are appearing. And because a lot of our clients that are in the FMCG world, so the Diageos and Coke and Westfield, we thought it was important to put a stake in the ground and say, actually, we want to know where our ads are. You know, it's kind of marketing 101. So we use preemptive tools to better understand where the ads will appear when we run on a blind network, and then afterwards we use tools to say, yep, they absolutely did run in those placements. And there's lots of ad verification tools out there that will do that. And they were two ideas that came from our team where we thought we can do this better and we can get to a point of transparency quicker. And I think the more transparent we can be with our advertisers, the more digital dollars will flow into the digital world. So I guess the last one is we're all trying to mature. There's lots of things that aren't quite right, but everyone wants to evolve the space. And if there's ideas that you have on standards or better ways to do things, then speak up, because somebody might not have had that idea before, and they might just need to hear it and have a conversation, and then you can make that thing happen. So summary of the key trends, just to run through. So experience needs to be developed and tracked across all devices. That's really important that they're tailor-made to each device as well. And it's a bit like when TV was invented, everyone put radio ads on, and then the internet was invented and everyone put boxes on that looked a bit like press ads and then TV ads. Think carefully about the experience and the time and the way that people are engaging with that platform before the experience is developed. The second one is that mobile will be BAU on all campaigns. People keep talking about the year of mobile. It's here and it's now. At the end of this year, mobile penetration will overtake PC penetration. So when we think about kind of our digital architecture in terms of strategy, we start off with what does the Facebook experience look like? Then we think about search, about how people are going to get to that platform. Then we think about mobile, and then we think about the amplification channels. So it really isn't siloed. It really is at the heart of what we do. Number 3, brands will experiment with NFC next year. Really exciting, massive game changer for big brands like Telstra, how they're going to get involved, and for some of our clients like Combank and some of the other financial institutions. It's really, really interesting the way that that's going to change, and it's going to change really quickly as soon as the technology is available. 4, brands will experiment with location-based services, so get yourself on Grindr. 5, all products should offer consumers the opportunity to publicly feedback. Again, that's just 101, and if your brand say to you, oh, I'm a bit scared what people are going to say, tell them to kind of change their product, because it is an expectation now that on websites and on Facebook, you will be able to have open dialogue with your friends or with people you've never met about that product. It can't be just one conversation. Number 6, data driving the digital economy. So using data in a really clever way to understand your profiles and then matching on tailored creative. 7, one size does not fit all. Brands need to develop dynamic landing pages and a matrix of creative based on who you are. And there's lots of tools out there that do that. Smart versioning with MediaMind. I know Atlas have got a product, and I'm sure the other ad servers have kind of similar ones as well that you can sit down and work out how you can do that. And really importantly, one of the challenges is often, oh, it's going to be really expensive and take loads of time. It's actually a really cheap way to develop creative, and it actually takes a lot less time, because if you have 20 creatives in the mix and they're optimizing in real time, then machines do it rather than people, and you'll get better results. So if time saving is ever a challenge, that just isn't the case. And then finally, agencies will continue to push through new industry standards. So over the next year, you'll see lots of agencies in the MFA and the IAB coming out with, this is the norm and this is how it should work. Cool, so I hope that gives kind of a bit of a summary of where we're at now and where we kind of think it's going to evolve over the next 12 months. Any questions? One, Bella? Yeah.
When do you estimate third-party data buying will catch up to, say, where America or Europe is in Australia in terms of capability?
Yeah, so everyone talks about, the blue skies and third-party data. The reality is Australia isn't there yet. We think we're about 10% of where the US are in terms of having the whole 22 million on a database that you can profile. Really the opportunity is on client-side data, and that hasn't been taken fully advantage of. So an example would be if you are a CBA customer and you've gone to a credit card site and you've got a home loan, we can track that using cookies, and we can re-identify you within the external environment. So So I think brands would be much better suited to looking at their own data and utilising that first before they even start thinking about third-party data.